Hi, Jay.
Hi, Reed.
Well, I'll start with the obvious. You're adding Mattias Ekholm to your lineup. What are your hopes in terms of what he's going to bring to this team and hopefully, improve the overall fortunes here?
Yeah, obviously, veteran defender with great experience, good length, takes a lot of pride in the way he plays the game. Had an opportunity to speak to Mattias yesterday, and someone who's very much excited to come to Edmonton, to bring his family to Edmonton, to raise his family in Edmonton, and someone who's excited about what we have going on in terms of our hockey club here in Edmonton. So you put all those factors in, and not only is he excited, but our team's excited to have him.
Of course, your power play is one of the best ever. You lose a player off that. If it is Evan Bouchard's that slides in, tell us how, if at all, that might change the dynamic out there and how that changes Bouch's responsibilities throughout the course of a night.
Yeah, first I would say, just like we talked about with Yessie yesterday, saying goodbye to Tyson on a human level, was hard because he's a great person, gave everything he had to our organization. Sometimes that's the business side of hockey. In terms of, our power play, I think historically it's shown to be very good with different types of personnel. And one thing we've done over time, especially over the last year and a half since I've been up in the head coach here, is Bouchard's gotten some reps in that spot. So he's been an understudy, so to speak, over the last year and a half in that spot. If we ever felt that it was getting stale at times or whatnot, that was something that we would, a tool in the coach's tool chest, so to speak. So I think he would be very excited about the opportunity that's before him. The other thing I would say is probably 4 years ago, before Tyson was here, the guy who had a really good long look at it was Darnell Nurse. And he was able to quarterback that power play when Clefbaum was hurt, and did a pretty good job doing that as well. So we feel internally with the people that we can put on the ice on a power play that it has the ability to be dangerous.
Hey, Jay.
Hi.
We saw the influence Duncan Keith had on Bouchard last year when he was here, a veteran player. Are you kind of envisioning the same thing with Philip Broberg and Ekholm coming in here and maybe taking him as a bit of a mentor as well?
Sure. Now, it's nice to bring a veteran player in and talk about that. Those are good storylines to have, good narratives to follow. But, first and foremost, what we want is Mattias to come in and not just worry about someone else. We want him to take care of himself and play towards his strengths. And I think, the leadership side of things happens organically. It's the conversations on the bench. It's taking somebody out for dinner, talking about your own personal experience. One thing about Ekholm is that he's been part of a solid organization that's made deep runs into the playoffs. He has the experience of playing in a Stanley Cup final. So all of those things are positives and pluses. But in terms of his main attributes, we want him to play towards his strengths. And I think the leadership side of things, that comes out naturally.
I just want to dig in on the power play, just if you don't mind.
Sure.
Obviously, you got a killer power play. So you bring in a guy that has different dynamics. He's not as experienced as Barry, but he's got a better shot than Barry. Do you try to fit the new guy in and just run the same power play that's been so successful, or does the power play change a little bit with a new guy in it?
Yeah, I think naturally it changes towards the personnel that you put on it. Different people have different gifts or different strengths. I think the one good thing about the last year and a half, at least in my experience here, is that we've been unafraid, if we felt it got stale, to change that element up. So it's not just throwing somebody to the wolves that's never played with those types of players that we can ice on a power play. It's been a process. Like I said, he got a chance to understudy underneath a pretty good power play quarterback. He's had his opportunities, and now it's his turn. So we're excited about that.
Would you show film to Bouchard of Tyson Barrie running a power play, or is that a negative thing that you don't want to do?
You know what, we have themes of what we want to accomplish on the power play, and when we're doing that, that's regardless of who's at the top. I think the work that individuals get, the reps happen in practice. We make sure that we include more than just one person in that position. Should an event like this ever happen, you want to have that contingency plan, he's done a good job. I think of in the third round of the playoffs last year, we were unafraid to put Bush out in games 3 and game 4 on a power play when we felt we needed that. I think of a unbelievable play he made this year, our first game in Chicago, when we felt we were a little stale on the power play. We put him out there. He made an unbelievable play and led to an important goal for us and a big win. He has that ability. I've also seen him at every step along the way in his professional career. I saw him get airlifted into a playoff series in Bakersfield and man power play and grow in terms of being a quarterback over his one season in Bakersfield on the power play. He has a lot of ability. Now, like I said, now it's his turn. He's no longer the understudy.
Jay, a lot of coaches will take a good penalty kill over a good power play. You saw a spike when Desharnais came up, obviously a shot suppressor. What does Ekholm bring to your penalty kill? Yeah,
someone in that same mold. I mean, I looked at that we had a full 4-on-3, a full 5-on-3 last game and against the top team in the NHL, and the amount of pucks that Desharnais was willing to eat in order to get a successful kill, I thought was impressive. I think that those type of players, when they're doing that, it really lifts the bench. It lifts their teammates. So for Mattias to come in, he's known as a very good penalty killer. Similar to Desharnais, he's a long body, breaks up a lot of plays, is in the way a lot, and that's sometimes half the battle, is the visual of looking up when you think you have an opportunity to get the puck to the net and you see a big body in your lane. It serves as a deterrent as much as it does as a shot blocker. So I think Mattias coming in will only help us in that regard.
Jay, for your defense 5-on-5, you used to have 4 righties and 3 lefties. Now you have 3 righties and 4 lefties, and more experience on your left side. Ekholm said he can play the right side. Is Broberg the next guy you'd consider moving? Can Kulak, Nurse? Which one of those other guys would you slide to the right side at certain times?
Yeah, I think we'll let it play out and see where we're at. Broberg does have some experience doing that. We're comfortable with that. We, early in the year when we went 11-7, it was Niemelainen. So we have the experience of running 4 lefties on that side. And I think the most important thing is just getting Mattias here safely, make him feel comfortable, and we'll see how things shake out on the back end.
And with Bouchard going to be on your first unit, for your second unit, I know it doesn't play a ton, but will you stay with 2 defense on your second unit, or you possibly go with 4 forwards on that second group?
Yeah, you know what, I think for us where we're at right now, I would prefer to play 2D because, you know, we have a unit that goes out and they typically get 115, 120, that kind of range. And when you go 2D on the second unit, one of the advantages is that you're prepared for the next forward grouping that's coming out from the other team. So that's a personal habit of myself and our coaching staff.
And would Ekholm then be the guy with Nurse on that?
We'll see. We'll see what comes out the door tonight.
Without that phrase, you're not allowed to use it.
All right.
But what's the goaltending situation look like for?
So should I say gate instead of door?
You could just say a name if you wanted.
What's the goaltending situation? We'll see. We'll see tonight.
How do you pre-scout the Leafs? I mean, so many changes here. I know their core remains the same, but man, a lot of change. So I guess, you know, I don't know if you threw the pre-scout out or what does it look like?
No, you know what? I think they're one of the top teams in the National Hockey League. I think what's interesting for me is their story on their season. You know, they went through some injury adversity similar to us this year. Their injury adversity happened on the back end. And I think what they did at that time was they figured out a way to play that as they've returned healthier bodies to the lineup is continuing to prove successful. So I paid very much attention at that time when they were going through what they were going through. I've seen how it's played out. Even though they're introducing some new bodies, I don't see them abandoning that way of playing. It's been successful. And, you know, they've added some good pieces here. We better be ready, and we will be.
One more on Bouchard for me.
Yep.
We saw in the playoffs and the opportunity he got and the way
Yep.
he played. What's your sense of where his game has been at so far this year? And it would seem that moving Tyson Barrie shows some confidence in Bouchard in a number of different ways. Where do you think his confidence has been this year? And is he ready to take on potentially some more here?
I think, like a lot of players in the National Hockey League in their sophomore season, there's been some ups and downs for Bouch this year. I think he's trending in the right direction. I thought he played a heck of a game against the #1 team in the league last game. You know, he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of ability, and we need him. We need him. And, you know, we think with the addition of Ekholm, that changes a little bit the complexion of the D-core. And, you know, we think that we're taking a step in the right direction. But all that said, that's on paper. We got to go out and live it.
Just quick, any update on Evander Kane?
Yep, still day-to-day situation. He's healing, getting better. So we'll see where he's at, but he's not in the game tonight. How about that?